Well, good morning again. It's good to be with you guys on a soggy Sunday, but we need the rain. It's hard to believe. It's hard to tell sometimes in the winter that you're dry, but you're dry. We're dry, and so that's kind of an odd thing. It doesn't show up much, especially when you have snow piles sitting around, but that's just the way it is. And so living in the kingdom, as we continue in this message mini-series, as we make our way through the winter months, making our way toward Easter, we started out listening to the King. Now we're living in the kingdom. And this is the third message in this one. And so we've been in Luke chapter 15 looking at parables, okay? And there's kind of a three parable set there, one right after another. And so we're looking here in week 3 at the parable of the lost coin. But I want to go back and just kind of set the stage to bring us where we are and help you to understand and kind of see what's taking place. And so the title of today's message is The Search That Never Gives Up, right? And here's today's big reminder. And this is something that sometimes gets caught up, and we forget this. But every soul matters to God, okay? Every soul matters to God, and every single one. And He doesn't, as we've mentioned in the last few weeks, He doesn't call us to save everyone, all right? He doesn't call you individually to be the one to make an impact in everybody's life, but He calls you to make an impact in somebody's life, right? And so you got to kind of know who that is, and you got to know who those people are. And it may be more than one, but it's not going to be thousands. And we'll talk about that, because you can impact thousands of people. There have been great speakers and great pastors through the years that Billy Graham is one of them that just pops in your mind, who impacted thousands of people, right? Thousands upon thousands of people he spoke to. He didn't even know who he was speaking to, right? But there were people out there. What made the Billy Graham crusade so successful was Operation Andrew, right? And if you don't know what Operation Andrew is what got the people to come to the crusades. That was one person inviting one person, right? It was the importance of one. And so before Billy Graham's crusade came to your town, the people would introduce the understanding of how this thing works. And people would go and look for those people who needed to come. Those people who needed to hear the message, those people who needed to be saved, those people who were lost. There were individuals seeking individuals in those communities everywhere before the crusade ever happened. And so here's the thing. Every soul matters deeply to God. And last week what we saw was Jesus shows us the heart of the shepherd, right? The heart of the shepherd, the heart of what he's looking for. We looked at the parable of the lost sheep last week, and so that even though you have a whole barn full that's doing well, when you take count, if there's one missing, you go after him, right? We worked our calves yesterday, and so we went out, and the hay was gone, and so I knew that would be the case, and that's why it's easier to get them to come in to eat if their hay is about gone, and so I didn't put it out Friday night. I was going to put it out first thing Saturday morning. Well, when I went out there, they had decided that it was a little warm, and there was a few green leaves out there, and so they were all over the whole farm, right? They were all spread out, and so what do you have to do? You got to go out and find them. And so you got to go out and seek the one that is missing when it's time to come in, and that's what he does. He searches until he finds. And then the other thing that we looked at last week was when that one is found, there was much rejoicing. Right? All of heaven rejoices when one repents. When one is saved, all of heaven rejoices, and so there's much celebration that takes place in the one who was lost is found. But today, Jesus tells us a different story, okay? It's similar, but it's different. Because last week, the lost sheep wandered away. But this week, we study the lost coin. It doesn't move at all. The lost coin doesn't move at all. The sheep wandered off, right? Because that's what they do sometimes. But this is different because the lost coin doesn't move at all. And that matters. Some people aren't lost because they ran away. All right? Some people aren't lost because they ran away. Sometimes they're lost because they were dropped. Sometimes they're lost because they were overlooked. Sometimes they're lost because they were forgotten. And education I've been through a lot of meetings in my years. And one of the things that we always talk about and what we do in education and what we do in school is how do we address those students who tend to slip between the cracks, right? How do we address those students that slip between the cracks? All right, and you guys you got cracks out there in your cars and in your houses and I've got a couch that's got like these pretty wide pockets on each side of it. And man, sometimes you just got to get the light and get down on the floor. I don't like getting down on the floor. And you get down on the floor and you go underneath the couch and it's like, wow, I forgot I lost all these things. There's books under here. There's plates under here. Oh, heck, there's a biscuit, right? How did that thing get under here, right? And then when your grandchildren come, Steve, it's amazing what gets underneath there. It's crazy. You get underneath there and it's like, wow, here's a pacifier. Here's a burp rag. Here's a blanket. All these things. Here's my shoes, right? And so all these things get slipped through the cracks. And so that's what happens. They get forgotten. And they wind up hidden there. And this is what Jesus wants us to know about this. God searches just as intentionally for those that have been forgotten as he does those who have run away. It's the same. Okay, and that's why the importance of this parable. God searches just as intently for those who have been forgotten as those who have wandered away. And so we go back to this same thing, and I want to point out something. I was reading through this week and thinking about this, and something kind of jarred my mind yesterday. Let's look where we've started every week at Luke chapter 15, verses 1 and 2. That the tax collectors and the sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and he eats with them." And so here's the thing. Again, it's not about curiosity. It's about criticism. And they're upset not because who Jesus, what he is teaching, but who he is teaching. And so it's this crowd. It's these people that they don't understand why he's associating with. And so here's the thing. Here's the important thing about this, and this is because here's the thing for the Pharisees. In their minds, there are categories of people who are not worth the effort. Let that sink in a minute. These are the religious leaders saying, why are you spending time on them? Because they're not worth the effort, right? They're not worth it. They're dirty people. They can't be cleaned. Now here's the other thing that we get caught up in sometimes when we're thinking about this and the way that this is going. Sometimes we look at this situation wrongly, okay? Sometimes we look at this situation wrongly. And when we look at it, it's like, well, why would Jesus hang out with tax collectors and sinners, people that are such as they are, and to that understanding? And sometimes we get confused in this fact that somehow him being with them is somehow blessing or acknowledging or somehow saying that their sins are okay. That he's saying, okay, I understand what your lifestyle is, but I'm here associating with you, and because of my association and my association and my time being spent with you, it is me saying to you that the sin that you're living in is okay. That is not what he's doing, right? And I also don't think. I don't think he walks in the room and goes, okay, now it's time to repent of the sins that you're in. I think what he offered them, by even talking to them and helping them to understand, gave them hope. It was the first time they had ever been given hope. Because this is what he knows. This is what he understands. The sacrificial system, the save you from your sin system that the Pharisees administer, is about to be replaced. All of the sacrificial lambs that the Pharisees and the religious order and the temple model facilitates is about to be replaced by one. Okay? It's about to be replaced by one. And what Jesus is helping them to understand is, look, if you'll put your trust and your faith in me, I'm going to go there and give my life for the sins that you're committing, for the sinful life that you're living in, so that you can escape it, so that you can be forgiven and you can walk away from that life and be forgiven. That's it. That's why that's why they're so excited. They're like, you're going to give us a chance. You're talking to us about giving us hope. So there's 3 parables in a row. I got a little confused when I was trying to help you understand this. Last week was lost sheep. This week is lost coin. Next week is lost son, right? Okay, so this is the second in this trilogy. And so this is where we are. And so each one of these that we're going to be looking at reveals the heart of God from a different angle. Okay? It reveals the heart of God from a different angle. And so let's look at the parable of the lost coin today. Luke chapter 15, verses 8 through 10. And here is the story that he tells. Verse 8. Or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Doesn't she light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin." In the same way, I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who does what? Repents. This is the message Jesus is teaching, right? This is the message you guys have been forgotten about. These people over here won't even have lunch with you. They won't even come in the house with you. And you've been looked over, you've been forgotten, and you've been left out, and you're not even welcome in the sacrificial system that they administer because they don't think there's enough lambs to kill for you. And so they created their own little category of sinner for you called tax collector, and you're done, you're finished, you're out. And there's no hope for you. I'm here to give you hope. He says, I'm here to give you hope. I'm here to give you hope. Here's a big picture for the message today. Kingdom life reflects a God who searches intentionally, values deeply, and rejoices extravagantly over every single soul, especially the ones that the world overlooks. All right? The first thing, the coin is lost. But it's still valuable. Notice how he approaches this. He says the woman has 10 silver coins. She has 10, but she loses one. Now, here's the thing about that. She doesn't know where it is, but it's still valuable. That coin still has its value. Whatever it's worth, that it's still worth it. If you have 10 quarters and you have a quarter that gets down underneath the car seat, you still have 25 cents under there, right? You may not know where it's at, but it's still worth 25 cents. It still has value, right? And regardless of what it is. And so it still has value. It has not changed its worth. Just because it's missing doesn't mean it's less important. That's the point Jesus is trying to help them understand. It's like, look, just because you don't know where it's at, just because you can't put your finger on it, doesn't mean that it still it doesn't have value. It's still valuable. It's still valuable even when it's lost. Why is that important? The world often assigns value based on visibility. Okay? The world often assigns value based on usefulness. What are you good for? Right? That's the world's value. The world places value on things that it can see. Visibility, usefulness, success. What does God place value on? Ownership. You're His. He made you. You're His. He made you. See, the coin belongs to her. And because it's her coin, it matters. Because it's her coin, it matters. It belongs to her. And because it belongs to her, it still has the same value. Some people are lost not because they rebelled, just because life happened. Life happens. Things happen. And when they do, oh my gosh, right? So sometimes some people put trust in people, and then all of a sudden they're dropped. They put their trust there. They thought, hey, man, I'm going all in here. I'm going all in, but they got their backs turned on. Sometimes they got overlooked by family. Sometimes they're pushed aside by systems. I see this in education. I see this in education. Too many times politics gets involved, and all of a sudden the game that we're playing or the rules that we're going gets changed, and it affects kids, right? And you look at them and you're like, yeah, but we're not doing that anymore. Why not? You see, that leaves people out, and so that's why it's so important to have individuals who care and individuals who look out for our young people. Sometimes people get forgotten by church people. How can that happen? Sometimes it gets sticky. Sometimes it gets a little complicated. Most of the time, it's really not easy. This is what Jesus is teaching in this, and this is what he's trying to make very, very, very plain. Lost does not mean worthless. All right? Lost does not mean worthless. Just because she doesn't know where the coin is doesn't mean the coin doesn't have value. It still has value. You still have value. You still have value. Hidden does not mean forgotten. Sometimes people just want to be alone, right? Remember what I told you about the visitation that my buddy Troy did in the northern part of Ohio County? I said, what did you find? He said, a lot of people who didn't want to be found. You see, hidden doesn't mean forgotten. Sometimes they just feel like they're out there and nobody cares. What happens next, right? What happens next in the parable that Jesus teaches? This is what's taking place. The coin is lost. She doesn't know where it is, right? She has 10. She now has 9. 1 is somewhere, but she doesn't know where. What does she do about it? What is her action? What is the action that she takes because of the lost coin? She does things. She lights a lamp. She sweeps the house. And she searches carefully until she finds it. You see, it's not casual. This is not, well, if I happen to notice where it is, okay? If I happen to notice where it is, I'll get it. No, that's not what this is. This is a detailed search. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to comb through this until I find it, right? You have to just, because the grandbabies were at the house this weekend, and it's like, okay, so how many pacifiers do we have in our possession when we have arrived, right? So, okay, we have 4, right? So 4, and now they're all gone, right? And so now, in order to find them, you have to do a detailed search under and around and in all the bags and all the pockets and in the beds and in all these things, right? It has to be detailed. It has to be thorough. If it's not, you'll miss it. It's not casual. It's a determined pursuit. And so how does she do that? She changes the environment, right? She changes the environment. She illuminates it. She lights a lamp. She puts a light on things, right? It makes a difference. Abby went out to feed with me Friday evening when we got home, and it was getting dark. It was right at the edge of dark, and so I went and got her a spotlight. And I said, "You are going to be my light." She said, "I'm going to do what?" I said, "You're going to be my light." I said, "Cowpaw's got to go and he's got to get things and I can't see them, and I need you to put the light on it so I can see it." And so she didn't do a great job, but she's not yet 5. And so she shined on lots of things and occasionally in my eyes, right? But she got the job done. And so what this woman did is she changed the environment by lighting a lamp. She changed up the routine, right? She disrupted the routine. She swept the house. And then she rearranges the house. Why did she do this? Because what was lost matters. It required a change of routine. It's like we're going to have to do something so that we can find it. We're going to have to do something different. What's working, what we've been doing is not working. Kingdom love is not passive. It's intentional. It's intentional. Kingdom love does not say, if it shows up, great. That's what churches do. Okay? It's really what we do. We set a time, and we come and we worship, right? We set a time, and we come and we worship, and we show up, and if somebody who is lost shows up, it's great. I'm glad you have showed up today so that you can hear what the pastor has to say, and maybe you'll get saved. That's what we all do, a lot of, right? And I'm glad you all come, I really am. But how much do we not turn it around the other way? What are we not doing to seek and save what is lost and forgotten and hidden? See, we don't do that very well. Kingdom love is not passive, it's intentional. It doesn't say if it shows up, great. It says, I'll search until I find it. Here's the thing that we always have to remember. God doesn't wait for lost people to get their lives together. Okay? And we try to trick ourselves into that. Okay? We try to trick ourselves into thinking that, and sometimes we encourage that behavior. Right? It's like people will be like, well, I need to get my life straightened up, and once I get my life straightened up, I need to get back in church. I hear that all the time. I need to get this all straightened out, and then I need to get back in church. Let me flip that around for you. Get back in church and let God get your life straightened up. Okay? That's the way He likes to do things. And here's why that doesn't work real well. Here's why that doesn't happen very well, because there's nobody within the church that's going out and saying, hey, come. I want you to come to this, come to whatever it is. And so when that begins to happen, then it begins to happen. God doesn't wait for lost people to get their lives together. He goes to them. He engages them. He engages them where they are. And this is what made the Pharisees scratch their head. Why is He out here, and why is He in their home? Why is He in there talking to them? Why is He engaging them on their territory? This was mind-boggling to them. It's the mindset of outreach. Okay? This is what's happening right now in living faith. Okay? It's happening right now, and this is a good thing. When we look at our women's ministries, it's stirring the heart of women. Okay? It's stirring the heart of women. When you say we're going to do something for women and we want you to come, we're inviting you to come, and you don't have any more spots for the women to come to because they're full, that's working, right? That's working. That's what our men are. All these guys are coming to me now going, hey, I'm thinking about this. God's prompting me to do this. This is what I'm looking at. What do you think about this? Right? Why is it? Because they're seeing people who have been forgotten. We have men in our church who are looking out into the world, into their jobs, into the community, and saying, I see people who have been forgotten, and we need to do something to go after them. And that's what's happening, and that's how this happens, and it's how it works. It's grace. I want you to notice something. This coin is lost. This coin has value. This coin is important. This coin... But the coin does nothing to contribute to the rescue. Notice that? The coin does nothing. The coin does nothing to contribute to the rescue. It doesn't cry out. It doesn't roll toward the woman. It doesn't help itself. Have you heard that before? Now there's some, we could talk about that for a while because I know what you're thinking. God helps those who helps themselves. This coin didn't help itself. Instead, He went looking for it. This entire rescue rests on the seeker. The entire rescue rests on the seeker. And guys, that's a picture of grace. It's a picture of grace. Some of us came to faith kicking and screaming. Some people come to faith broken and exhausted. And some came because God placed people and circumstances in our path. But all of us came for the same reason. Because God searched first. He pursued us. If you're here today and you say, well, I'm a baptized believer, I'm a follower of Jesus, well, He came looking for you first. You say, well, I don't know. Yeah, the family you were born in is where He put you. And they encouraged you and they took you to church. Yes, He was looking for you. He was looking for you. He searched first, always. The burden of rescue is not on the lost, it's on the one who loves them. That burden is on us. What's the point of the search? Joy. Joy is the point of the search. What does the woman do when she finds the coin? She does what she needs to do. She brings the light and she does the sweeping and she does the rearranging, and all of a sudden she discovers it, and when she discovers it, she calls her friends and her neighbors and says, come on, let's have a party. I found the coin. I found the coin. What else do we see this? What did the shepherd do when he found the one? He rejoiced. All of heaven rejoices when the one that is lost is found. And Jesus says in the same way there is rejoicing in the presence of angels of God over one sinner who repents. Not the crowd, not all the things, okay? It's the one. It's the one who repents. And it's not about statistics, okay? It's not about statistics. One person matters that much to God. Sometimes we get caught up in attracting crowds, and we don't do a very good job of spending time on the ones who come and raise their hands. There's more to the story, guys. There's more to it. Why do we do that? Very simple. It's easier. It's very easy. It's easy to put on an event to get 1,000 people to come, 500 people to come, and to have somebody else come and share a message, and we feed them, and then we say, if you're lost and you want to know Jesus, raise your hand, and then we count the number of hands that are raised. I'm not being critical. I'm just being real. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it, but we better get a hold of those hands. Somebody's got to put their hand in those hands and make a difference in their lives. It's not about going, well, that was 20. That was 40. 40 people got saved last night. Who were they? I don't have any idea. I didn't get their names. Uh-oh. You blew it. You're right? And so it's a one-time thing, and we do that, and we've done it, and I've been a part of it, and I've been a part of those things. It's easy sometimes because it's a one-time commitment. Who's this parable for? This parable is written for people that are unseen. The people who don't want to be found. The people that are just kind of holed up. The people who feel unimportant. The people who feel forgotten. People that are tucked away in the corners of life. I'll have those kids come through my class. I try to make a difference. Sometimes you don't know that really you're just kind in the regard that you have. I have letters that I keep tucked away and stored, and I keep them because sometimes when kids write them, they remind me of what I do. And I found one last one. Whenever you get snow weeks, you start cleaning out stuff, right? And so we're cleaning out stuff, and I find one of these letters, and it's just a very simple note, because you're my favorite teacher, because you're always nice to me, you're always kind to me. Very few words did she ever say in my class. I keep that letter tucked away because it reminds me that she was in my class for a whole year. We really didn't have a whole lot of conversation, but I always welcomed her. I always said hello to her. I was always nice to her. And she said, you were always my favorite teacher because you were always nice to me. And I think, man, that's, I didn't even realize I was making a difference. I didn't even realize I was making a difference. And I think about her life and I think about who she was, and I'm like, you know what? When I read this week, she's the face that came to mind because it's like she probably felt forgotten. She probably felt overlooked. She probably felt like she didn't fit into anything that we were doing. But she knew that I cared about her. We have people like that all around us. We have people like that all around us. Unseen, unimportant, forgotten, out in the corners of life. This parable also speaks to church people that need to hear a truth. God is not impressed with how many coins are on the table. He's concerned about the ones that are on the floor. And sometimes we get caught up in how many coins we have on the table, and we forget about the ones that have been dropped. And we're unwilling to search for the one. We're unwilling to go for the one. Kingdom people celebrate restoration. Kingdom people celebrate restoration. They don't celebrate the status quo. They don't celebrate mundane. What this teaches us about living in the kingdom is that living in the kingdom means reflecting the heart of a searching God. When we realize what His heart is, He is a searching God. He is the hound of heaven. He is in constant pursuit. He searches carefully. He values deeply. And when He finds, He rejoices loudly. And we should do the same. We should do the same. So how do we walk away with this? What do we take from this? What are our walking points? Number one, believe your value is not defined by your visibility. You matter to God even if you feel unseen. You matter to God even if you feel unseen. Wherever He has you, whatever He has you doing, whatever it is, then you are valuable to Him. The most valuable people that we have in our world, I believe, are some of the ones that are most unseen. What they do on a daily basis is most unseen, and that's our parents. That's our moms and dads. All of the things, the care that we give for those children, quietly in our homes, only seen to God. That's what matters the most. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten, and you are being searched for. You're being searched for. So what do we do with that? Who's around you that might feel lost? Who do you encounter every day that's not necessarily rebellious, they're just overlooked? Who might be God asking you to notice? Who might God be asking you to place value on? Who might God be asking you to pursue? We need to rejoice when restoration happens. Don't be threatened by grace. Don't resent attention given to the broken. Whenever we see a life turned around, whenever we see a life given to Christ, whenever we see somebody who has accepted the offer that he has, an offer of salvation, an offer of a new life, heaven rejoices, and we should too. In the kingdom, the question is never, how many did we keep? Instead, it's who did we search for? Who did we search for? Because the heart of the Father never, ever, ever gives up. And neither should we. Let me pray for us. Father, we come before you this morning and we thank you. We thank you for this challenge. We thank you for searching for us. At one time we were lost. At one time we were unseen. Father, I know it's hard. It's not easy sometimes for me. It's not easy for any of us. But Father, give us a heart. Give us your heart for people who feel forgotten. Teach us, Father, to live as kingdom people. People that reflect the relentless love that you have. And Father, help us to always rejoice when grace finds its way home. Father, I don't know where anyone is this morning. I don't know who may be in someone's path, in someone's life that this message was for. Maybe there's someone here that you directed into the path, Father, and they're sitting there and they're thinking right now, well, he's talking straight to me. Father, that's you. Help them to understand right now that that's you. It's you talking to them. Because I don't know, but you do. So, Father, that's even more important. Because nobody told me anything. You just gave me this message. You just gave me these words. And so, Father, if we need to respond to that, if we need to do something with that, Father, I pray that you give us the courage to do that. Give us the courage to be obedient. And, Father, how any of us need to respond, Father, I pray that you call us in that. Father, I pray that in this time of invitation and reflection that you just give us the strength to be obedient, the courage to say yes, the courage to step out, to pray for someone. As we look into our communities, Father, and see those that are lost, those that are forgotten, those that are out there that nobody's paying attention to, Father, when you illuminate that for us, Father, help us, Father, turn the light on and be about your business. Father, I pray now that you would just guide us in this time of invitation and reflection. Help us, Father, to be obedient to what you've called us to do. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. Would you please stand?